Yeah,
everyone.
yeah. This
This
is
is
Evolved
EvolvedAnt.
Ant.
He's a
Yeah.
world creator.
Well, yeah. I mean, your name's in the title, but yeah, Evolved Ant. You're a world creator. You've been around VR chat for a little bit. You're doing interviews. You're hanging out with other world creators like Teddy P4, who I'm not sure how you met him. Which I met him in the Black Cat. I don't know how you became familiar with him. Maybe you could help me out with that.
I got a random friend request and I just accepted it
Yeah, he must have
because
seen.
he.
No, go
Well,
ahead.
actually, no, wait. He messaged me on Discord and had a question for me. I think. Yeah, he had a question for me, and then I was like, well, it'll be easier if I just join you, and then I can answer. So then I joined him. I added him as a friend in VR chat, and then joined him.
What made you want to start making worlds in the first place?
Uh, I started making worlds back in when I was 13 years old. Starting with the game Doom. I had an interest in just it was very interesting that you could make your own Doom world, and I wanted to make my apartment as a world,
That's
which I did.
cool.
And then I kept making worlds for other games as new games came out. With Half-Life 1, Team Fortress, Left 4 Dead. Worked my way up until I was making worlds for VR chat.
Like so, when you were making these maps for like Half Life and Left 4 Dead, were they just kind of exploratory maps, or was there like a theme that you did, or did you do a lot of different stuff?
I tend to create worlds that do the unexpected or do things to impress people because I'm kind of a show off. So when I made my Left 4 Dead world, which is called Silent Fear, and it's on the Steam Workshop, uh, I kind of went all out and created a because typically Left 4 Dead worlds are just go from point A to point B, from safe house to safe house until you beat the campaign. In mine, I made it where you actually have to explore the whole map because the door to end the level is locked behind 5 keys. And even if you do get the keys, there's a custom boss that you have to fight before you even get to the door.
The
So there's all
boss.
kind of like custom.
I don't know if I
Yes.
played that before. What was the boss?
It was like a giant underground subterranean thing that comes out of the ground and it has like tentacle arms and an eye in the middle.
I think I played that. I might have played that. That sounds familiar. I remember liking. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was really
Right.
fun.
Well, it was such a unique idea that eventually I got invited, and I actually went down to Valve Software's headquarters, and I hung out with the team, and they were impressed because they didn't think what I did was possible or at least to be fun. And I kind of proved them wrong and made something that because they tried to make Left 4 Dead a more open world where people had to go off and explore every nook and cranny. And ultimately, it failed because they found that players would often ignore all of that and just memorize the path to the safe house and then just beeline it there. So they didn't have a solution for that. But in my world, my solution was it doesn't matter if you beeline it to the door because you need to find the 5 hidden keys, which are randomly placed or throughout the map. So that solved the
What?
issue and forced people to go and explore.
That is that is something wild, man. Holy shit. That's pretty great that you got an invite to Valve. That's incredible. You should be pretty proud of that shit. It's not every day that someone gets to go to the studios where they make these games.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a lot of stories. A lot of interesting things has happened, especially in VR chat. I know you're interviewing me because you made these cool worlds, but actually, there's a whole lot more to it than just that. As far as like things that I've done for this game, Um, However, I have to be careful because one thing I've learned from giving interviews is that sometimes it may seem like I'm taking too much credit for a lot of things in this game, which is totally not my intention. Uh, there's a lot of people who contribute so much to this game that I have the utmost respect for. A lot of them are my good friends, and a lot of them are the team members at VR Chat. They all contribute something fantastic to this game. However, that said, there is a lot of story to the things that I've done for this game that's very interesting.
Yeah.
For example, a lot of people don't know that the initial version of where you could do a gesture with your hand and your facial expression would change based on a gesture you do,
Yeah.
that was actually something I came up with in this game.
What?
That was an idea I had. Yes, it was an idea I had that I gave to the developer. I said, "Hey, I have this amazing idea. What if we did a gesture and it made our facial expression change? What if we had it that we can control animations just by doing a gesture?"
Yeah,
And
yeah.
interestingly enough, the developers of VRChat actually were kind of against the idea, but they were against the idea only in the much of the sense of they had bigger plans if something like that was going to be implemented, because they were thinking too far ahead. They were thinking of like Avatar 3, what Avatar 3.0 is for us today, right? And I argued with them like, no, like what we can do right now is low-hanging fruit. We don't have to do this overly complicated thing. Just a simple thing from the start would mean so much. So I figured
Right.
out a way to get that. Yeah, so I figured out a way to get that to work. In Unity, I spent days trying to work out a way to get that to work, and eventually I struck gold, and I figured out a way to take advantage of a new system they implemented that wasn't meant for changing your facial expressions. Um, it was only meant to override your hands so you could do additional gestures, because there were some people that played via chat back then that they were mute in real life, and so they often would complain that the default gestures aren't good enough to communicate using sign language. So in the Unity 5.6 update of VRChat in 2017, they added a feature where you can actually override the finger gestures. And it was through that I figured out, aha, I could use this and actually make it do more. And I figured out how to get it to change your facial expressions, how to make animations play, sound effects, shaders, all that stuff.
That's
So,
pretty wild, actually. I remember my first exposure to
yes.
that stuff. You get the ones to where, uh, one of the big ones, if you made the perfect expression with it was like I can't remember who it was, but it was like a Halo avatar, and Master Chief would come jumping down, throw it at like a Covenant ship, and the whole thing would come crashing down. And he would even zoom in on Master Chief as he jumped back up into the ship and flew off. And that was just with a gesture. When I first saw that in VR chat, I thought it was like really funny and really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good idea you came up with that. Sure, we get some annoying ones, but I mean, you got a lot of mostly great stuff out of it. For out like
Right.
99% of them. What made you come up with that idea? Were you just sitting there, hanging out, thinking, "Oh wow, that'd be cool
Uh,
if we could do that"?
I was jealous I didn't get a head pad. So basically, I was playing VR Chat in 2017. I think it was the month of April. And when I logged into VR Chat, this was when it finally came out on Steam. I'm like, oh, VR Chat is on Steam. Let me log in and see what's going on, what's different. And when I did that, the big difference I noticed was that the game was filled. Prior to 2017, everyone's avatars were not anime. They were all like Marvel characters, DC, video game characters. Nobody had cute avatars. So when
Oh,
I came back into VR Chat in 2017, suddenly everybody was cute avatars, and everybody was giving each other head pats and nose boops, but nobody was giving me that. And so I was like, what the heck? Why am I not getting attention? Um, so Eventually, I found out that the reason why people weren't giving me attention was because of my avatar. It wasn't cute. So I
Oh,
decided, yeah. Well, my avatar was a cactus, so
cactus. Yeah.
you're not gonna get much head pats as a cactus. Um, so basically, I decided, okay, I'm gonna make a cute avatar. But the way my personality is I kind of like go above and beyond. So I said, well, that's not enough. I need to do something that's even more cuter than anyone else could do. So I came up with the idea, well, if I could change my facial expressions, that would be super cute. And that's what led me to talking to the developer, hey, could you add this feature? And then me just saying, well, screw it, I'm just going to implement it myself.
Wow. That is pretty cool. One of the first people that were the first person to have that, huh?
Uh, Somewhat, yes.
Someone, yeah.
Technically speaking, there was an employee who first utilized the gestures to make a portal appear in front of them. That they use a depth shader so that you could see them through the portal, but you couldn't see them outside the portal.
Oh, wow.
And they attached it to a gesture so that when they moved their gesture, it would open and close. That was the first time that anyone has ever done a gesture that controlled something else. But that was done as a one-off thing. They just needed that one functionality, and no one else had access to it. Because the only reason they could do it is because they were a developer and they had early access to some code that was coming down the pipeline in the future.
That's that's wild. Just like hearing the origins of or origin stories from VR chat. That's pretty neat because you use expressions all the time, for various things, and you even get to the point to where you can, emote for just whoa. What did I touch? I touched something. Never mind. Hang on. Whew. Okay. And that's why I don't emote with the right hand while I have that right next to me. But that's really good that they did that you came up with that, because without it, I don't think I'm not to like wax you off or whatever, but that was a pretty great idea. That was a really good idea.
Well, it does go further than that because it led eventually to a chain reaction that kind of made VRChat explode into so many users because during this time, VRChat was little known and only about 40 players played it on a Saturday.
What?
And that was yeah.
That sounds
that was
impossible.
considered a lot. It does sound impossible, but that's the way it was back then. Prior to October of 2017, at a maximum, you'd have 40 players in the entire platform. So, one day I was hanging out in the old hub, and in the mirror room, there was a dude wearing a default skeleton avatar, and I overheard him say, no one ever gives me head pats or nose boops. And when I heard him say that, I felt for him. I'm like, you know what? I know what that felt like because I was jealous. I didn't get head pats. And I know the reason now. It's because he's not a cute avatar. So I decided that I would go over to him and give him some head pats. After all, no matter that he was in a skeleton avatar. And through doing that, I realized, oh, I can be actually cute. And I'll go ahead and I'll do an animation, one of my custom animations, because I made a custom animation where my lips would pucker, a blush would come out, music would start playing, and then I did that, and then normally people back then, because back then nobody was lewd, that was a new concept to anyone back then, normally people would run away from you when you did that, because they were like flustered and they would run away because it was a new experience. But this person started leaning in to get the kiss, and I was like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? And at the last moment, this random Steam user in a Unity Chan avatar comes over and blocks my lips with their hand, which I thought was perfect. It's a joke now, and so I ran off. So now what I didn't know was that during this time, actually right after that, I went to a real life meetup because we were planning a real life meetup this whole time. So, in the first week of September, okay, the first week of September of 2017, half the entire player base of VRChat went to a real life meetup. We rented a big house in Orlando, Florida. Okay, so we had 22 people at this meetup, including developers of VRChat. So we were at this meetup.
That's cool.
We were having a good time. Yeah, we were having a good time. We were going to the theme parks and stuff together. It was really fun. And then one day, one of the developers is sitting on the couch and he opens his laptop and he's like, guys, there's 100 people logged into VRChat right now. And we all looked at each other because we were VRChat. We were half the entire player base, right? So we're like, what do you mean? We're all here. You know? So it's like, how could there be 100 people logged into VRChat? Then the next day, he checked again. It was 200. And the next day, it was 300. Now, at this point, I decided to go home. Because I live nearby. So I would always commute. But I went home. And I logged into VRChat to see what's going on. As soon as I logged into VRChat, it was packed. People were all over the place. And they all came running towards me, pointing, it's you, you're the reason I joined this game. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
Who are these people and why are they saying that? Then I found out they messaged me on Discord and sent me a link. And apparently, there was a Twitch streamer who was really big. And he happened to get a VR headset for free because he's a big streamer and they wanted him to try it out. And so he was just looking for experiences to play. So he found out about VRChat, logged in, and that was him that was in that skeleton avatar that day. So
What?
he was live streaming. He was the first person. Well, he's not the first. There was someone else back in 2015. Yes, the game was out since 2015. But he was the first big streamer. Okay, he was the first big streamer. He has, when he streams, he regularly could hit 90,000 people watching him live.
Daggone, that's a lot of people.
Yes, so his stream is PokeLols. He was playing VRChat, and he was the one that said, "Oh, no one ever gives me head pats and nose boobs." So when I got up to him and started giving him attention, everyone in this live stream in the chat started freaking out. Oh my god, what is this game where you can like kiss a cute anime girl? They were freaking out because before it just looked like, oh, what's this stupid game, whatever. But the moment it suddenly had an opportunity that you can be close to a cute girl, a switch just turned on and everyone in the chat like, wait, what? Cute anime girls and you get close to them? And then everybody was like, what is this game? And then once he got close to give the kiss and it got blocked, the chat went wild. Oh my god, it got COCK blocked. Oh my god. So someone clipped that, posted on YouTube, and it instantly went viral and had 400,000 views. And then it was being posted everywhere. It was being posted on 4chan. It was being posted on all kind of Discords. I mean, even when I went into a Discord server that's just about teaching people how to use Blender, it was there in the general chat. It was everywhere. In fact, it got picked up by the biggest YouTuber of all, PewDiePie.
Oh,
so now
shit.
PewDiePie showed my video, and he's commenting about it and saying how funny it is and how much he liked it. And then that got 3 million views because it's PewDiePie. So then he made another video right after that one, and he shows my video again.
Oh.
But this time he pauses the screen on my face with my lips puckered as to give a kiss. And then he walks in front of his computer screen and he points at my face and he's like, guys, I'm gonna log into this VR chat because look, this could be us kissing right now. And I'm like, what the? Oh my, what the freak's going on here?
That's great.
So now once PewDiePie got wind of VR chat and was giving all this exposure to it, all of a sudden it was wild. Everybody was flooding into VR chat. VR chat was growing by like 1,000 people per week. Until in the first week of September, we had 40 players max that would play VRChat. And in only a couple of months, once we hit December, VRChat has 15,000 people playing.
Wow.
And every single one of them knew who I was. Oh, it's you, you're from the video. And then I updated my tutorial on how to do the animation overrides. I said, guys, you can do so much more. You can bring memes to life. And so then someone in the community decided to bring a meme to life, and they brought Uganda Knuckles. So then Uganda Knuckles became this big thing. And that, from December until January, brought in an additional like 5,000 players. Now VRChat in January of 2018 was 20,000 players playing live, when just a few months ago it was only 40 people.
Daggum.
So all of that started because I was jealous I didn't get a head pat.
So it was a good thing you didn't get the head pat, right?
Yeah, I guess so. But
that's funny.
yeah, so I got a lot of fame because of that. Not so much anymore. People don't recognize me as much as 2017 and 2018. The game has grown so much that my fame has gone down to a small amount. Like, I do sometimes get recognized, but it's rare now. And I'm totally fine with that because I'm just glad that the game has become so successful and has so many amazing experiences and amazing worlds, amazing avatars, amazing new technology people come up with and stuff. And it's just a fantastic ride, a fantastic journey. So my fame has stepped aside for other people who have done other great things, amazing things with this game, like coming up with the audio link, coming up with all sorts of interesting shaders and building all kind of cool worlds and doing things no one's ever done before.
Shader
There's
Fest,
so many amazing,
whatever that was.
Yeah, Shader Fest, and even things that aren't like technology creation, but just events like virality and stuff. There's so many amazing things that it's fantastic, and I'm super happy for that. So now I mostly spend my time just building worlds. That's what I enjoy doing. And my latest world that I built is the EvolvedAnt Arcade. Which is probably how you got wind of me.
Well, I was hanging out with Teddy, and this was before. I think this was right before my motherboard crapped out. My motherboard crapped out and fried my GPU, right? That's basically what we've all determined, Teddy and the guy I talked to and me. So one of the last worlds I went to before my motherboard died was the arcade world that you made, and it was chugging. But I imagine now I could probably run it pretty well because I got a 3070. But yeah, that's how I originally heard about you, was through your arcade world, and then you hanging out in Serenity Sleepover with Teddy, which is pretty. Did you see what the world looked like when the first time he uploaded it?
No, I haven't. I discovered his world from basically some events I was joining. They would use his world to host these events, so I was like, oh, this is a cool world. So I went there when most of it was already done, but then he invited me when you seen me to check out the newest version.
It's really come a long ways. I mean, you know how it is. Whenever you first built, like your first stable version of a world, it's like, okay, this is cute, this is fun, and then you find yourself self-obsessed with. I don't know if that's something you experience.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, my first EvolvedAnt Arcade world was just the playground by itself. And then I quickly worked on creating the trampoline park.
Yeah.
And then I quickly added the actual arcades, and then the birthday room, and then the tag game mode, and the zip line, and the air cannons, and you get excited, and it grows organically, and then it becomes more and more interesting, and you keep wanting to add more.
What made you want to make that kind of world in the first place?
So I was watching one of my friends who was streaming on Twitch, and he was in a world in VR chat that was a big playground, like a McDonald's playpen. I was like, oh my god, that's in VR chat. I miss going on playpens as a kid, and I can just
Yeah.
totally go in one right now as an adult. So I quickly joined up with them in VR chat, loaded the world up, and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. It's big. There's plenty of nooks and crannies. So I started running towards it, and then I couldn't go inside. It didn't
What?
let you go inside, and I'm like, what?
Just for
How are you
looks?
gonna show me this? Get me all excited, and then you can't go inside. And I could tell it was a reason because they didn't know the person who created the world, didn't know how to do the colliders as good as they could be. Um, so what I did was I stopped everything I was doing. I said, you know what? This is too good of an idea. So I dropped everything I was doing and I immediately opened Blender and just started making my own from scratch. Um, Eventually, interestingly enough, I did get in contact with the creator of the world that inspired me, and I said, "Hey, add me as a friend in VR chat, and I'll show you. You know, I made a world that was inspired from yours." So he was like, "Okay, cool." So he added me as a friend. I went into my world. I invited him. He joined me, and I immediately got a newfound respect for the world that inspired mine. Because as much as the world that inspired me to make mine had some problems with it, once I learned who made that world, I was thoroughly impressed. Because as soon as they started talking to me in my world, I realized, oh my god, this is a little kid. You know, a kid made this world,
What?
and this world is
Wow.
super popular. It's on the hot tab. It had regularly 400 people playing it at any given moment, and it was made by a kid. I'm like, wow, okay, you know. So yeah, that's what got me to make the world. It's just I was inspired by this world this kid made, and I'm like, oh my god, this is such a good idea. Why has no one done this yet? Like legit. And I just had to do it because not only did I want to do it for everyone else, but just for myself, I wanted to re-experience being able to run through those tunnels again, and I
Yeah,
knew
I
that
know
I
what
could,
you're
you know,
talking
I could
about.
do that and experience it. Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. You ever seen what was it, Prison Escape?
Yes.
And when you're crawling through the air ducts, it makes the like the clomping sound. Kind of reminds me of being in
Mhm.
those old tubes as a kid when they were at the playground. You remember that? You remember that? It's what you're talking about. So I don't know why I'm asking you if you remember. But
Right. Right.
that's really cool.
Yeah. The prison world is really cool. I thoroughly enjoy it. I like it a lot. And I was surprised because when you go to the back, there's a before you go into the lobby, you can turn to your right. There's a hallway there with some empty cells, but in each cell is a portal to a world, and I found that there was a portal to my world in there. So
What?
the person who made
Wow.
that world appreciated my world and actually added it as a portal.
That's what's up.
Yep. So now the next version of my world, I have to make sure I add a portal to his world and mine.
How'd they get your I
Oh,
guess
that's
there's
available on the website. You can get the world ID on the
yeah, the
website, and
world
then
I
you
was
can
gonna
do
say
the
the world
portal.
ID is like I didn't know that. I was just thinking, yeah,
Mhm.
how do you get the world ID? And then it's like, oh well, the website. So that's good to
As
know.
long as it's a public world, if it's private, you can't get the ID. But if it's well, normally you can't get the ID. But
Yeah,
if it's a
normal.
public world, then yeah, that's readily available.
That's crazy. What was your first avatar?
Goofy.
Goofy. Yeah. Did you ever do the
Yes,
voice?
that was my first avatar. Yeah, of course.
People ask you to say, "I'll do it again." I'll do it again. That's fun. That's funny. Why'd you pick Goofy? Because it's just the first one you saw, or what?
Um, I wanted something that kind of matched my personality a bit because I am kind of goofy and I do act silly and stuff in VR chat. One of my pastimes, besides building worlds, is just to join random instances and just be silly and try to make people laugh and stuff. So it kind of made sense at the time. Now I use this avatar because now it's like, oh, you know how it goes. Suddenly you want to be cute.
You didn't make this one, did you?
So the head is a Yamakaze head, but the body is a body that I highly customize and remodeled in Blender. It's my own design. Um, it has all kind of stuff that I did. It has kind of like Avatar 3.0 toggles and things. Like I can make a drum set appear that I can play. I can play Minecraft on my avatar and build blocks in VRChat. Summon things from like Final Fantasy. So it's got all kind of fun stuff on it.
That's cool. It's been a while since I played Final Fantasy. At least probably sometime earlier this year. But what was your so what made you want to get into VR chat anyway?
I was one of the Kickstarter backers for the Oculus back in the day when the Dev Kit 1 came out.
What?
I always had an interest in virtual reality since I was a kid, because of a movie that came out when I was a kid called The Lawnmower Man.
Oh yeah.
Yes, The Lawnmower Man is what introduced me to the concept of wearing a headset and you're inside the game. And I was so fascinated by that concept because I was a hardcore gamer since I was 2 years old. I have memories of being 2 years old, playing Atari. My first video game was Adventure. And I was playing that too because it was easy. You know, the controller on Atari was just a joystick and one red button.
Yeah.
So that was back in let's see, if I was 2 years old, so like 1982 or 83. So yeah, so playing games and it's been a journey, and I never stop. But the VR, since playing games for so long, the concept of being able to go in the game, I couldn't resist. In fact, my first VR headset was back in the 90s. My first VR headset you plugged directly into the Super Nintendo, believe it or not. Okay, it was called the Victor, the Cyber Victor Max, something like that. It plugged into Super Nintendo, and then you could play 3D games like Doom or Star Fox, or Star Wars. You could play that on the Super Nintendo, and you wore this headset, and then you'd be like, oh, it's like I'm in VR. It wasn't actually 3D, right? But it felt like it was 3D because it was 3D games. And then what's interesting is that it actually had motion tracking, so you could actually turn your head, and it could track you, even though the technology to do that wasn't really there yet. The way it did it was very ingenious. What it did, you know how old mice had a ball inside it?
Yeah,
that
the
rolled
track
when you
ball in
moved
it.
the mouse? Right. So think of that inside the headset. So what you do is they had a stick that came from the headset all the way down and had a clip on the end, and you clipped it to your shoulder. Now whenever you turned your head, the stick would rotate, and that rotation was picked up in the headset from the little thing spinning, and it was like, oh, well, because the stick rotated, your head must be looking this direction. That's how they figured out where you were looking, just by the actual mechanic of where the stick moved when you turned your head.
That's crazy. Wow. Wild.
Mm-hmm.
So you've been at the VR game for a long time.
Yes, I have.
Did you ever pick up the PSVR?
I don't have it, but my father owns it. He likes playing the PlayStation VR, so I've played it at his house.
Yeah, I need to play those Resident Evil games. I have the website up on my desktop. Well, I definitely want to try to get into. I don't know if you played Resident Evil in VR yet, or if you're even into those kind of games.
I love Resident Evil 4. It's my favorite Resident Evil game.
Yeah.
And I haven't played it in VR, but I am definitely a fan.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're remaking it too. Like for real this time, and instead of just a port. Technically, they did
Mm-hmm.
remake the VR version, but I guess you can call it more, well, because they changed so much for the interface and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I have a reasonable amount of confidence for the fourth Resident Evil, which is also probably my favorite out of the series. Um, but so what kind of games like were most inspiring for your work aside from
Uh,
that guy's world?
well, typically my inspiration for a world it's all over the place. It could be just something I happen to see at a particular time. It's not like a real like one particular thing. Like for example, when I told you about the Silent Fear Left 4 Dead world, that actually has inspiration from three separate games: World of Warcraft, The Legend of Zelda, and there's a third one. Oh yeah, Fear. Um, those three games inspired a lot of the different aspects of that world. The boss fight was inspired by World of Warcraft because it has multiple phases to the attack,
Oh yeah.
which I learned from playing World of Warcraft. There's scripted events in the world where you see like ghosts and things sometimes, and there's kind of spooky stuff that happens around you. That was inspired from the game Fear. And then some of the titles and the way messages appear was inspired by Ocarina of Time. So, I pull my inspiration from all over the place. I don't limit myself to any one particular thing.
Man. Imagine being around when that game came out, Ocarina of Time. I could say that I
I mean, I
was,
don't have
but
to imagine. I
yeah,
was.
it was just like it was that was back when Zelda games you didn't expect them to be like you would hope they would be good, and you kind of like, it's gonna be good, but then like it's not like where even if it has a huge glaring issue, like now again, like a Nintendo game would have a huge glaring issue, but people will just overlook it simply by the title. Like the title, a Nintendo title itself automatically gets a 9 out of uh, out of 10 just for a title. But Ocarina of Time was definitely something else. And then I lost my little mind when I saw Majora's Mask. I don't know if you played Majora's Mask, but it's probably my
Yes, I
favorite.
have.
Probably my favorite out of the
I never
series.
beat Majora's Mask, but I've played it a couple of times.
Yeah, I really like the music in there too. So I assume Ocarina is your favorite Zelda game. Oh, we got a Oh, look at that! Look, look, look! They're wearing Majora's Mask. That's pretty great.
I think you can tell I'm a fan.
Yeah.
uh,
There's a fan made mini Zelda game that's in the style of Majora's Mask, but the art style and pretty much everything of those two get at the main of Ocarina Time and Majora's Mask, and you can get like it's basically combines the two of them together. So I haven't played it yet, but I would assume that it ends in the forest. So you'd be like, you would just go pick up Majora's Mask and then play that. Oh, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay. Do you got plans for like another some more worlds in the future, or just the ones you're working on now?
I always have plans for more worlds in the future, but right now my focus is still EvolvedAnt Arcade.
Yeah, of
I have
course.
a big update that's going to be coming out to it. It's going to have more arcade games and support so even Quest users can play the arcade games. And it's going to have I'd say about a 25% bigger sized fort,
Oh
so
shit!
more to
Already?
explore, more paths.
That's awesome. That's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't been to an actual arcade in real life, like in real life, in a long, long time. Probably been 2, 3 years since I've done that. Since I've done that.
So I have an arcade that's very close to me, so I go there on and off just to get more ideas and to see like the way certain things are styled and stuff. It's very useful to have something physical you can actually go to and see and interact with. I get references from Google Images and things like, okay, what does an arcade look like? What kind of games does it have, and yada yada. But being there and hearing it and seeing the interactions is super useful. So,
Yeah, hearing the noises, the bells, the clickety 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 click. The some guy who's a little too rough on the joystick. Pinball machines, all that fun stuff.
mm-hmm.
Man, the Dragon Ball movie's coming out, so I'm probably gonna pop by the arcade after I go see that. I guess later this year, whenever that comes out. I think it's August or some shit. Um, what did you go to a lot of arcades when you were younger?
Uh, I did go to arcades when I was younger. Yes, I was lucky enough to be alive during the '80s, so yes, I did go to arcades and they were fantastic. I miss them. I miss the way they were back in the day because today it seems very in the '80s when you went to an arcade, you could have a pocket full of change and have a good time. Now, it's so commercialized. Like you gotta put money on this card, and then when you want to play, you gotta scan the card, and then you find out that card you just scanned it, and it just took $1.75 to play this one game, and it's like, damn, it used to be a quarter, and you can play a game, and it's like every time you swipe a card to play a game, you just lost like $1 to two, close to $2, and it's like you can see like they try to bring arcades back, but it's hard. It's hard competing with like cell phone games. You have in your pocket, you can just play a game right then and there. But what it seems like what they do now is that the arcade experience has matured into an adult venue as much as a kid venue, where now they typically have bars as part of the arcade experience, and then they'll have other things. They'll have bowling. They'll have go karts, um, and go karts for adults, not just for kids. Laser tag, virtual reality. That's a big thing now. There's a lot of virtual reality games in arcades now. So that's how they kept it relevant now and interesting, and so it works and it's successful, but it's expensive. It's not something you could just when you were in the '80s, you could be a kid and you could use your weekly allowance, and then on Friday, you and all your friends could go to the arcade, and with your weekly allowance, you could have an amazing time. You can get pizza, a drink, and you could play some games. Today, no. The only way you're gonna afford going to an arcade is if it's a family outing and your parents are there with you, and then they already said we're gonna set aside this amount of money for an arcade. So it's different now.
And that's true. The how freaking expensive it is now. But there are a few places that still take quarters. But who the fuck has quarters with them anymore? And it's like who carries money with them all the time anymore? Like I go into the city, so I don't try not to carry any money on me, except for just maybe like a little bit. But yeah, it does kind of suck thinking that you could get through fucking Marvel Ultimate Alliance or whatever the arcade one was. That had Ultimate Alliance. What was it? Anyway, yeah, those beat 'em up games. You can get through an entire beat 'em up game with like five bucks if you sucked. But now it's like you're fucked because that $5 is only gonna get you a few continues, maybe
Right,
two,
right,
three at
right.
most.
2 or 3, yes. Especially depending on the game. Some game like the arcade next to me that there's two games that are the most popular. One is Jurassic World, and the other one is Dawn of the no, not Dawn of the Dead.
Walking Dead.
Was that zombie show? Yeah, Walking Dead. There it is. Yes, Walking Dead. The Walking Dead being the most popular one. It's a super fun game, but they only have one in the entire arcade, and it's always packed. And even if you do get in it, just to play one continue is like $1.75. And it's a zombie game where zombies always get you from the side, and you barely have time to react. So you're going to be swiping multiple times to keep playing. Yeah, $5 is, you'll play for maybe 5 minutes.
I was thinking about getting a Raspberry Pi, and now that you mentioned that Jurassic World game and the Walking Dead game, to make an arcade, I think I'm gonna have to add light guns to it, or some shit, or whatever they use now.
Light guns is fun. Yes, I was thinking about adding a light gun game to my arcade. So I might give it a whirl. I don't know how successful it'll be, but light games are super fun. So I would love to have that in my arcade.
Time Crisis 2 on the Sega Saturn. I didn't have a light gun for it, but it was still fun. You could play it, the easy level, the hard level, the medium level and the hard level, and you'll get the true ending, or you could play it out of order and get like a slightly different ending. It's fun times. You don't know.
House of the Dead.
Yeah. And then Virtual Fighter 2. And then you could, what's that? Down upright. It was Dural, so it was Dural. Down up. Anyway, you typed it into the character select screen, and you unlock a character model that would just look like just a polygon chick. But if you beat it, no, the boss at the end is the polygon chick. And then once you beat her, her clothes come off, and it shows the plates coming off her body, and it cuts out right before it shows the nipple. That was kind of a big thing, making all the guys super buff and tough, and all the ladies real, sexy and shit. And
right.
I guess that would have made kids drool back then, because all the polygons all over those old games. And it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna give these characters big muscles, and it's just like, yeah, that dude's got some pointy muscles. But now you've got people making avatars in VR chat that look better than some of the stuff you could see in fucking Modern Warfare 2 or whatever. And they end up having the real good ones are the ones that are super optimized. Which, I don't know, you've been around in VR chat to know that a lot of folks don't like making optimized avatars. I don't know how they came up with that system. Maybe you could enlighten me on that.
It's not that they don't like making optimized avatars. It's that a lot of people just aren't as experienced, because you have a certain skill sets, certain skill levels, I should say. I would say that level 0 is you don't know anything. You're just starting out, right? And at level 0, you're most likely to just download a package of some already made avatar and then just upload on your account.
Yeah.
Level 1 is when you actually want to customize, and that's the point where you're like doing Frankensteins. You take the head from this avatar, the body from that, and you combine them, and I got a new avatar, right? And then level 2 is when you actually open Blender and you start actually trying to adjust things, adjusting the weight paints, adjusting the bone lengths, adjusting a scarf. That's when you're at level 2. Most people stop at level 2. Level 3 is when you've learned enough that now you know how to optimize, and you know how to reduce the polygon count. You know how to retopologize. You know how to reduce the draw call. You know how to combine all your materials, all your meshes. You know how to use a mask on a shader so that you can have multiple effects on different parts of your avatar without actually introducing more draw calls by using 2 material. It keeps going up and up, and most people stop though at level 2, and don't go into the depths of optimizing an avatar, because that once you get to optimize your avatar, there's a lot of little nuances you need to know to not screw things up and not like
Oh
make
yeah.
things not look as good as they could look. So that's why most avatars in VR chat, it's not that people don't like to make avatars optimized, it's that most people don't have enough knowledge and experience to to do it right and to be comfortable doing it.
Yeah, I mean that the I'd rather see one that doesn't have a lot to it and than one that's like a bit too much. Like someone whose avatar is real subtle, like Teddy's, and then there's ones that have like all the different triggers and stuff that have swords and guns and lightsabers and stuff. And I think one way around all that is that you could just have multiple avatars if you were worried about having a party one that has like lights on it, which will reduce optimization, and then you can just have one that doesn't. So when you go to the club, you can just use your fallback avatar like I have for this one. I didn't make this avatar. I've delved into avatars a little bit, but I mostly focus on keeping my world optimized, and less focus on the avatar. But the avatar thing is something I plan on in the future, and I don't know how long you've had your hand in creating content for VR chat, and from what you've said, it sounds like from the very beginning.
Oh yeah, I was one of the first 10 or so people to log into VR chat back in 2015. So from the very beginning, I was making content for the game.
Do you still talk to those people?
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of my friends from back then eventually became employees of VR chat.
Oh wow. Like how many employees are there roughly?
Oh, I don't know the estimate anymore. I used to have an idea, but they've been on a hiring spree. They've
Oh
hired
yeah.
so many people recently that I don't even I can't even venture a guess anymore.
I guess it's safe to say that the I guess it's safe to say that the front door for VR chat probably starts, if you're not counting the home world, probably starts at the Black Cat. Because that was like the first world that I went to, other than the camping world. I think the camping world attached to the home world is the that you can go through the home world was the first one that I went to, other than the
Right.
home world. So what's the story on the Black Cat? How'd they come up with that? And what made them want to make it a some kind of mini pub bar thing? I don't know if you
Well,
know the story behind that.
the Black Cat is not made by VR chat. That's made by a player. So you have to ask the player what his reasoning is for it.
Oh yeah, wow, all right. I just figured that maybe that since it was like probably one of the biggest worlds, or the most known worlds, that
No, it wasn't. No, it's more recent. That the Black
really,
Cat was not always there. The original world that was the big one was actually the Great Pug.
yeah,
The Great Pug was the first one that was like the big world everyone went to.
wow, and that's based on a real place too. I've seen pictures of it. I'm sure you have too.
Yes, I have. And even before the Great Pug, the big place that everyone went to was just the hub. The old hub world was the place everyone just because that was there wasn't a home world back then. In 2017, you didn't have a home world. When you played VR chat, it just threw you right into the hub with everyone else.
Oh, wow, that makes sense because that's how they used to do things. They just drop you in with everybody else, not have a
Mm-hmm.
lobby or anything. It's
Right.
wild. It's wild. And to think that it's all over the globe now, from South Korea to you know Europe, parts of Europe and Scandinavia and Russia and South Africa and Brazil, Canada, and wherever else. I'm not gonna do the entire uh Yakos world. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama. Um I wonder, do you know if people go to like take on sabbaticals, or what do they call them? Not sabbaticals. Do people ever have VR chat meetups at the Great Pug?
People have meetups in all kinds of worlds. It's
No, I
not
meant
just
like
the
in
Great
real
Pug.
life,
It's
like
not.
the real Great Pug.
Oh, I'm sure that there's gonna be some group of some VR chatters somewhere at some point in time have done a meetup at the actual Greek Pug. I do know that there are some VR chatters who have been to it and taking photos. Like, look, I'm in the real one. But I'm sure that the people have done like a meetup there. They had to have been.
Like someone dresses up in a furry, someone dresses up as Solid Snake, and there's a bunch of other cosplays, and people are like, "Hey, new VR chat update with a picture of the Great Pug." That'd be fun.
I don't know about all that, but I would imagine that people who live by the actual Great Pug, there's got to be VR chatters who live by it and who said,
Yeah,
"Hey,
right.
let's all meet up here." I mean, it has to have happened.
Well, it's pretty wild to see. VR chat changed over the past in just the past 2 years. Like 2 years ago, like you couldn't enter like two and a half years. You couldn't enter a world without here. Do you know the way of the Ebola is being totally flooded with with Ugandan knuckles. That's one of the things that started to get my interest in VR chat. But I saw someone in a Ugandan Knuckles the other day. I think they were trying to start it back up again. It didn't really work out too well. Oh man. Uh, so like what are some things that you're excited for? Game wise that you think might be able to you know help out VR in the future.
I'm kind of looking forward to the next round of official VR headsets from the big companies. I feel like we're pretty much due for a new upgrade. I want to see what Valve would introduce as a new VR headset. I'm hoping that the Steam Deck uh, didn't take too much of their focus away from a new VR headset. I'm a little bit worried that it might have, and they might have just said, "Oh, well, our focus is the Steam Deck now." I'm hoping that they're still focused on making a new VR headset because I feel like it's about time. And as far as same thing with Facebook, I want a Quest 3, and I want an Index 2. These things I feel have to happen. I know Apple's working on a headset as well, but I feel like Facebook and Valve, we need an Index version 2 and we need a Quest version 3. And I think that if anything, what I would want in that is just to at least have eye tracking because the technology is there. It's no longer this obscure thing. No, there are communities on Discord where there's people who have on their own created their own solutions for eye tracking that works super well. And
Oh
I feel
yeah.
like if random people on the internet can come up with super well working eye tracking, then obviously companies like Facebook and Valve that have an infinite war chest of money should be
Yeah,
able to come
right.
up with something that's legit and just works on a headset by default. Um, if they had facial tracking along with that, that would be fantastic as
Oh
well. But
man,
I don't think
facial
that's
tracking.
100% required. Just at least the eyes. I feel like we have to have eye tracking now. There's no excuse not to have eye tracking anymore. Um, and then just higher resolution screen. I think that, but at the same time, if they didn't increase the resolution screen, I would hope that at least the field of view increases, at least for Oculus or Meta's side. Because I have a lot of VR headsets. I've had the DK1, the DK2, um, the Samsung Gear VR, the Quest, Index, the Vive. I've had all these VR headsets, and what I can tell you from trying all of these, field of view is so important. I prefer using the Index, which is what I'm using right now, because having a 130-degree field of view is so much more immersive than a bump up in the resolution of the screen. Because the current resolution of the screens, at least on the Index and the Quest 2, is already high enough that you don't even notice that it could be better. You don't even notice the pixels. You don't notice any screen door. You don't notice any of that. But what you do notice is that it still feels like you're looking through scuba gear because the field of view is small,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Right. So field of view, I feel like no. The focus should be on eye tracking, and with index, the index field of view is the sweet spot. It doesn't really have to be more than that. It's fine. But the Quest needs to increase their field of view dramatically. It's lacking. Resolution is fine. Now, if they could bump up the resolution even higher, that's fantastic. I would love it.
That's a good point.
But my
Field of view.
priorities are eye tracking and field of view. Resolution's fine. No one's Back in the day, people used to complain about the resolution of headsets all the time. That was a constant discussion. Today, I never hear anyone say, "Oh, this resolution sucks." I never hear it. Because why? Because it reached the sweet spot. The resolution is fine. Great, you can make it more. Do it. But the one area that people need to appreciate more is wider field of view. And I know there's VR headsets like the Pimax that go crazy with that. But I'm not saying we need to go crazy and
Yeah.
have 180-degree field of view. Just 130 degrees is the sweet spot.
I agree. I agree. I think that a bump in resolution would be nice, but if I had to pick between field of view and resolution, I would pick field of view. Cause there's nothing quite like standing here. There's nothing quite like they can't see me on the screen. There's nothing quite like standing here, and you see, if the field of view were just a little bit better, I could see somebody spawn over here while I'm looking at you, and I'd be like, oh, hey, look. Or you would like see me sitting here, and you see my eyes dart over here, and then my head turn. I mean, content creators would have an amazing time making short films and stuff. And so instead of having to animate everything or have a bunch of special avatars for each scene that had a different facial expression, you could do it with your eyes. And then once the mouth tracking comes along, I mean, it would still might be a good idea to have facial tracking for people who don't, or expressions for people who don't have them, or for like special expressions. But I think that the eye tracking would be awesome if we're thinking about the same eye tracking.
Right.
But I think that would be exciting. But then there's then the people want a wireless index. I've heard rumors of that, but I do agree that wider field of view would probably be probably make the experience a lot more obviously it would make it more immersive, and it would make it more accessible to people who don't really want to get involved in a new technology until it's like pretty much the standard. It's like, oh yeah, that's great, but let me know when I can star in my own movie in it, and I'm not able to tell the difference between reality and the actual thing, which is the case with most of the people that I know outside of VR. I don't know, but yeah, I like the headphones on here too. I mean, what do you think? The Index do you think their headphones are any good, or do you use your own setup?
I use the Index's own headphones. They're good enough for me.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, I could use my 7.1 headphones, but then I'd have to change the setup. I'd have to do a bunch of different shit that I don't really feel like messing with. One more thing I have to worry about when I'm getting ready for a stream.
Right.
But I heard that I heard that Resident Evil 4, the remake is gonna have a VR some VR capabilities in some form. I don't know if it's gonna be the way the Quest version of the game is, but it would be cool to be able to play Resident Evil 4, the new one, the remake, in VR. That would be exciting. That's one of the things I'm excited for. But it's always cool
Right.
to meet content creators and uh sometimes you'll be trolling around the world. You'll go there a few times, you like it, and then you see someone walking around the world like they own the place, and turns out, yeah, they actually do own the place. Do
Oh
you
yeah, I've had that happen a number of times.
Yeah, how often does that happen? People psyched to meet you in your own world.
All the time. You know, I go in my own world, go into public lobbies, and I see what people are doing and stuff, and then one person will recognize you, be like, "That's the creator of the world," and next thing you know, everyone in the instance is surrounding you in a circle.
And you can talk about almost anything, and you just have a captivated audience. You can talk about recipes for lentil soup.
Sometimes, other times, they just want you to join in and play tag, and it's just normal shenanigans
Oh yeah.
running around.
Do you Is a world you created your home world, or do you have a different home world?
No. I have so many favorite worlds that I actually set world as a home world just so I can remember to check it out later.
Oh shit. That's pretty clever. That's pretty clever. Wow. I didn't
So yeah, so I'll see someone with a cute avatar and I'll click on them and say, "Where'd that avatar come from?" "Oh, it came from this world." So I click on the world set as my home world. Then next time I log into VR chat, I'll be like, "Where the heck am I?" "Oh yeah, someone had a cute avatar. Well, let's see where it is in here."
That's that's a really smart idea. Wow. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Huh.
Well, I thought of it out of necessity because I ran out of favorite spots in my favorite worlds list.
Yeah. Do you normally just stick to this avatar, or like your worlds you have a whole bunch you like?
I have a bunch of avatars, but this is the one I use for 90% of the time.
Yeah, your main, huh? Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I use avatars like Joker and Hank Hill. When people are all excited and hyped up, I'll do voices and stuff. See, I've got a few avatars that I like, but my avatars are all full up. My worlds are yet to be filled up. I got maybe like 100, maybe something left or something. Not very many, but there are some there are some good worlds around here. Like what are some of your favorite worlds that aren't your own?
My favorite world is gonna have to be Organism.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Organism is a world that it's kind of new, and it's a huge world. It's a big download. It's like I think 400 megabytes.
Holy
However,
fuck! It's
yes.
so big.
However, it's basically you think of worlds like the backrooms where you have like these liminal spaces that are kind of like creepy just because of the way the spaces are.
Yeah.
And there's like a whole genre like weirdcore. I don't know if you've ever heard of weirdcore, but there's like a genre of like architecture that's really creepy and people take pictures of and show people like here's an example of weirdcore where you have like this hallway and it's filled with a flood and you know there's all this weird stuff. Well, this world called organisms um, is that concept turned into an entire world that you can explore with a kind of a story ingrained in it if you pay attention. And it's so well done. It's like going through that world is an experience. It's something else. It takes you on a journey that you feel like this is taking VR and taking advantage
Wow.
of what you have at your fingertips because the way the world is designed, it's so long and it's so interesting the way the architecture is, the sounds you hear, the moods it gives, and it takes you on a journey that you're just like you can't stop. Once you start exploring it, you got to keep going and you don't want to stop because every time you get somewhere new, you're like so like amazed at what you're seeing.
Oh wow. That is pretty cool. It's called Organisms. I'll have to check that out. Definitely have to
Mm-hmm.
check that out because I kind of like that liminal space and like a lot of houses that you see in like old Nintendo 64 games and PlayStation games. And I was a big fan
Mm-hmm.
of the Silent Hill. I am a big fan of the Silent Hill series. I also really like the Resident Evil games. You already know that. Um, a lot of those old lived-in spaces is especially old hallways and buildings and stuff because I grew up around a lot of that with a lot of liminal space and stuff. So that might be something I need to check out. It's called Organisms. You said.
Mm-hmm. Yes, organisms.
How'd you find that place? Just trolling around and you found it, or what?
Twitter.
Twitter. All right.
Some who was it? My friend Mochi posted it on Twitter. Like, you guys gotta check out this world, and I was like, okay, hey, I'll check this out. And then I checked. I was like, oh my god, they're absolutely right. More people need to check out this world. Holy cow!
That is really cool. It is really cool.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's called Organism.
Or organism. All right. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever play any of those SCP maps where there's like a long hallway or a long stairway or something? It's like real moody. The
It
back
has.
rooms are
Oh,
peaceful too.
I I don't wanna spoil it.
Oh, but I assume that it's a pretty detailed and intricate map based on what you're saying. Organism is. But no, I mean, no, I guess with all your experience doing content creation, you probably handed out your fair share of advice, huh? Helps people
Mm-hmm.
out and stuff. I get asked about a lot of things, but I really don't know that much. I mean, just today I started working on actually working, intimately in Blender, making making fancy looking door frames and stuff, and learning about things that don't necessarily work or cross over, or that I don't know what I'm doing right or wrong, and that sort of thing. It definitely takes a lot of learning if you don't have a background in it like you're saying, like you made with the Left 4 Dead maps and the Half-Life maps. And I'm sure you played Half-Life Alex, right?
Yes,
What did you think of that? Were you pretty
I've
satisfied with that?
played it multiple times.
So I guess
Beat
that's
it on easy
yeah,
and
right.
hard.
On easy and hard. Did I've only played a little bit of it. I can't really. There's no like jump in it, is there? You have to kind of like point to where you want to jump and then you jump, or how does it work?
Yeah, you aim and it has a little line with the feet icon on the floor, and then it just simulates. Well, yeah, you jump there when it moves you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you So how much of what you like? Do you design your own textures? Do you find them, or what do you do when you're doing that?
Okay, so I get my assets from all kinds of locations. I don't limit myself. Either I create them myself from scratch, or I purchase them from the Unity Asset Store, or I may even purchase them from a website. Or I will, like some textures, I will use artificial intelligence to generate. Or I will even get stuff from like a photo repository, like Shutterstock or something. I'll
Wow.
have an account there, and I'll just download a texture from there. Um, I get stuff from all over the place. Whatever saves me time, so my time could be better utilized building the world and making something interesting than to be spending my time just painting something all day. Like, that would be a waste of my time, because my biggest talent is in creating the overarching design, not so much in the minute little detail of painting a single texture.
Yeah, you don't
So
want
I'd
to.
rather just, yeah. I mean, I do it. I sometimes create textures from scratch, but a lot of times I will find some other means of getting that handled to save time and get back to working on the more hard problems, like writing code or something.
Yeah, writing code that it totally breaks down and you don't know what you did wrong. Yeah, you don't want to. You need all the time. You need all the time you can get on that. So it makes sense. It makes sense that don't aren't always the one making the textures yourself. But what's your favorite thing? What's your favorite thing that you've made in VR? Like, not necessarily an entire world, but maybe like a specific model or the way you lit a room or something
Well,
like that.
this is my favorite model that I made, and it has every time I add new things to it. Like during the pandemic, I had all this extra free time, so
Yep.
I took an online course on how to write shader code, because that was something I was always lacking for a long time. So after I took that course, I was like, oh shoot, I know enough now that I could literally recreate this cool shader effect I seen in World of Warcraft. There was a mount you can get called the Celestial Steed, and it had like the bones were like a constellation, and
Oh
where they
shit.
connected were like stars, and then you had. So I made that, which I can show you here.
What? That's fun. Cool. Look at that.
So now it's like I'm a constellation in a way. So I made this after learning how shaders work and how to write the code for that. So um,
That is wild. Makes me think I should do something like that. That is
mhm.
crazy. A lot of people have problems with motivation and stuff, and they're just like, oh, it would take too much work and too much time. I mean, I don't know how you would, encourage someone to be able to, get through that, or what are some words of advice you can give them?
There's no better time like the present right now to start your journey making content, whether it's worlds or avatars, because today there's so much resources to help you learn, to help you get started on the right foot. Um, VRChat themselves, in their documentation, have a project, a starter project, so you can quickly get up to speed and upload your first world within moments. And there's so many YouTube channels that go over all the little details about how to make a world in VRChat, how to use Udon, or how to use Udon Sharp to write your own code and toggle a mirror to turn on and off. And uh, there's so much content out there to just start right away building stuff. And now even more so, VRChat now has what they call the Creator Companion, which
I heard
makes it
about that.
super easy to get started. Yeah, it makes it super easy to automatically just download all the things most world and avatar creators have at their disposal. You don't have to know all this arcane knowledge. It's just there for you. The Creator Companion will be like, hey, do you want to install these, and these? These are all popular things most people install. Great, download, install, you're done. So there's no better time than right now to get started and enjoy. And don't worry about making something super complicated. Start easy,
Mm-hmm.
upload it, go into VRChat, have your friends join it, check it out, give you some advice, some pointers, and just keep building from that. And then you'll get there. You'll start building crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean I agree with that. Yeah. What drives you most when you make your worlds and your content?
My vision and knowing what I'm capable of, and it gets me excited. Like, ooh, I know exactly what I can do. I can do this, and I'll have this cool thing like this, and that's gonna lead to me being able to come into VRChat and say, guys, check this out. What? That's crazy.
Yeah,
That motivates me.
that's a good feeling, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like for me, my world's not that big yet, and it might never be. But just there's a few people that come in and say, "Hey, I love your world. I love just sitting here and hanging out." It's a pretty great feeling. But hey, thanks for coming out. I wish this one could have been a lot more organized. It usually goes a lot smoother. There have been a few hiccups, obviously, and I do appreciate you just I barely even talk to you, and you want to come out and do an interview. I got out of the habit, so it's good to be back. It's good to have interviews. Um,
Yeah. No problem. Glad I could help you out. Give you an interview here.
I'll definitely be stopping by. Definitely stopping by your world more. EvolvedAnt Arcade. It's been a while since I've been there, but yeah, uh, it's pretty great. I like it. It does remind me a lot of arcades, like the old days. But
Hopefully, even more so when I release my update, and it'll have more arcade games than just two.
yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna ask how many more, but that's really cool that you're able to do all that stuff. That's fun, instead of just like a pool table. Yeah, pool tables are great. Pool tables are
Hmm.
fun. I recommend pool tables if you're gonna have, if it fits the theme of your world and your vision that you're wanting to do. But yeah. I mean, there's anything that you you've got left to say to your fans and would be creators, even though you already gave words of encouragement. There's anything left you want to say? Feel free to.
I mean, enjoy. It's a lot of people are stuck at home and don't have much to do. Like, use your free time to learn stuff, to build stuff, to improve your knowledge and improve your resume because you have all this free time to do all these things that are going to set you up in the future to be successful. Take advantage of it. I mean, yeah, definitely enjoy taking a break and playing games and reading manga or whatever, but use some of that free time to continue like learn something new because with the internet, there's so many free resources out there to learn a new programming language, how to 3D model, how to build a world, how to build games, how to speak a new spoken language. Like there's mathematics, you name it. There's so much stuff out there to learn. Like it's a smorgasbord. Enjoy.